Good evening, everyone. My name is Adam, and welcome to Cocktails and Vinyl. Tonight we have Shawn. Hey, Shawn.
Hello.
Hello,
Cheers.
hello, hello. Yeah, happy Wednesday, everyone. And
Yeah.
we're having hello,
Cheers.
hello, hello.
Halfway through the week. Let
Yeah,
me.
hap-
There we go. Cool.
halfway through the week. Yes, we are. Or halfway starting the week.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, we've had some of the most beautiful weather we've had in a long time. It's been beautiful sunshine, beautiful skies, and at
That's a fact.
nighttime we're getting some of those evening clouds that hang way over there. It's just gorgeous. It's
It is.
just gorgeous, absolutely. Hey, good evening, Fanatic Card Guru. Good to see you tonight. Hope you're doing well.
Hello.
Hello, AZ Mick. Thanks for
Hey,
stopping
Mike.
by. I hope you're doing well tonight. Hump Day. Yeah, Hump Day.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, it's been a beautiful day. We've had a beautiful week.
Yeah.
We had some, and we're ready for some more, folks. I tell you, I really enjoy having summertime versus winter. That's for sure. Yeah. What are we drinking tonight, Shawn?
Vesper Martini, same as always. A little lemon peel.
Oh, well, cheers there, sir.
Yes, you too.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah. Chris says, "Hey, Chris, how are you? It's not quite as hot as the surface of the sun. Well, that's
I
good.
was I was joking with my daughter the other day. I said, "Have you ever noticed, especially here in the South?" I said, "Have you ever noticed that when you're driving, you got the AC on, it's nice and cool in the car, and then you park and you shut the car off, and in less than 30 seconds, it feels like the sun jumped in the front seat with you."
That is so true. It's just like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for real.
that is so true. But hey, um,
I'm
I
very
do
much
scrape.
looking forward to autumn already. Autumn's always been my favorite season. I know it was the first day of summer yesterday, but I'm I'm already looking forward to fall, man. That's my favorite
Well,
season of the year.
it is a wonderful season, but here in North Carolina, we have autumn for like 3 days.
Yeah, but at the same time, around I don't know, middle late October, when it starts to cool down a little bit, the highs are in the 60s, and you got the leaves, falling and stuff. It's kind of nice. I don't know. There's
I'm
just
glad
something
I didn't have.
about the world.
I'm glad I didn't have to scrape ice today off my windows.
Huh, yeah. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
took a drive across country with my mom in the beginning of May,
Uh huh.
and we had to go over the Sierras in California. When we got up to about
Mm.
8,000 feet in the El Dorado National Forest, it was snowing. I mean, it was almost white out. It was bad. And then we got into Nevada, and we hit snow all the way through Nevada too. And we're
Oh
talking the
wow.
beginning of May. It's crazy.
Wow.
We stopped for the night in Elko, Nevada. Got up the next morning. The car was covered in ice. Like it was nuts.
Wow. That is
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah,
I love the fact that west of the Mississippi, almost all the seasons happen at the same time.
yeah, yeah. The West
Yeah.
is I don't know. The West is just a different animal. It is, and I don't think I'd ever move back there, but I'd be lying if I said there were days where I missed it. Mainly I
Oh,
miss just being able to see for miles. Just miles and miles of nothing but miles and miles. I just think it's beautiful.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're doing cocktails and vinyl tonight, so grab your cocktail, grab some records, and let's start talking. Shawn, you got some records you grab?
I do. So, of course, Saturday was Record Store Day drops, right? So,
Oh, it
um,
was absolutely, yeah.
and one that you put the bug in my ear about. So, I only picked up 2 Record Store Day titles. One I was pretty happy with. The other one I was less than impressed with, but that's okay. Um, so sound quality wise, I so the one that I was really impressed with was the one that you put the bug in my ear about. I didn't realize that Prince's Gold Experience was being reissued to kind of mimic the promo vinyl from the '90s, and luckily I did grab one, and this is amazing. It sounds really great, and it's really awesome for me to finally have the album version of The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, which I've always preferred to the radio version.
Hello,
yeah,
TARDIS.
And weirdo.
I'm having a cocktail on weirdos.
But
cheers.
Yeah, I've always liked that album version. And when you told me that, I was like, I don't know. And then for some reason, it didn't click when you were telling me about that. And then I was like, oh, that's that album. And I'm like, oh, I do need that. So yeah, I'm really glad I grabbed a copy of this. Thank you for putting the bug in my ear, because this was totally worth it. Very good. I really liked it, and I love the way it sounds. I like the packaging. It's very it's very faithful to the original. So good stuff.
Very cool. Yeah. Hello, gardening and cocktails with joy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Cheers.
And then the other title that I grabbed that I was a little less than impressed with, normally Kevin Gray is considered one of the greatest mastering engineers alive. The guy, he does so much great work. His stuff sounds great. Call me a heathen. I ain't impressed with this at all. I like the packaging. It's good. The sound quality. I don't like the way Kevin Gray mastered it. It's not punchy enough for me. Like, this is a rock album. It needs to get you going a little bit. And this just doesn't. He let it breathe too much, I think. And I don't like it, but that's okay. I'm still glad to have this on vinyl, because
when you're here next, we'll have to play the CD and see how the CD mix sounds.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Adam. This one sounds better. This is an original cassette from '97. I bought this album on CD when it came out on release day in 1997. I was so excited to get this record. They had been playing "Listen" on the radio, and I loved that song, so I was super stoked to get this record. And I bought it on CD, and I probably still have it sitting in a box somewhere. But yeah, this cassette sounds better than the Kevin Gray remaster, as far as I'm concerned. So that's okay, though. You can't have 100% luck with all this stuff. But like I said, it's still good to have this on vinyl. This is actually,
speaking of Kevin Gray, I mean, we think of Kevin Gray, not so much heavy rock and roll.
Well, right. So there's
maybe that was a territory he should have passed on to his friend.
Yeah, I don't know, because but honestly, I've had some complaints about the Tone Poet series too, that he's been remastering with Joe Harley for Blue Note, because like they almost sound too clean. Like for a 1950s jazz album, there is no way that they could have ever, with period equipment, gotten those to sound as clean as they do. And for some people, that's not an issue. But for somebody like me that's big on history and historical accuracy, it just doesn't sit right with me. But yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff that Kevin Gray's done that I've really enjoyed. His 2009 like silent remaster of Tom Petty's Wildflowers is amazing. That is one of the greatest sounding records I've ever heard. But to your point, right, that's not really like heavy, fast rock and roll. That's kind of more laid back and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think Kevin Gray might have been a little out of his wheelhouse with that Collective Soul record, because it just didn't jive with me. But that's okay.
I hear you. I'm little baby girl's right here on the counter with me, and she's just laying on her back, feet up in the air, and I'm petting her like crazy, and it's a precious moment, so I'm going to keep on doing it.
Petting cats is one of life's simple pleasures. It really is.
Absolutely.
I love cats. But interestingly, Discipline Breakdown is actually the only 90s Collective Soul record that ever got released on vinyl in the 90s. But man, those original Discipline Breakdown records, God, those are expensive. Those are actually selling for upwards of $500 in decent shape. these days. Like it's
Wow.
nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. And I mean, I like that album, but I don't $500 like it. So I'm fine with having Kevin Gray's remaster and having a cassette. So
Well, maybe one day OG will pop up just for you.
yeah, you never know, right? So here's one that was a long time coming. So the pressing plant delays are real, people. I pre-ordered this June 1st of 2021, and it just arrived yesterday. It was a reissue from Kiss My Wax Records. This is Slaughter's third album from 1995.
Yeah.
Nobody paid any attention to this when it came out, but Kiss My Wax decided to reissue it, and this is the first time it's ever been released on vinyl. And they put pre-orders up June 1st, 2021. I pre-ordered it that day, and it just arrived yesterday. But luckily, the folks over at Kiss My Wax were always great about communicating about, the status of getting the records pressed. And, they were telling people in the beginning, hey, this is going to be, a while, that kind of thing. But, pre-order it now. We'll ship it to you when we can. And so, it was a little over a year later, but it was totally worth the wait, man. These discs are flat as pancakes. And
so I want to hear the finger slides, the chord changes.
They do. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. They do. Yeah, a lot of times they hide a lot of that, and it just doesn't work. But this record, so this was Slaughter's third album. I think it's every bit as good as the first two. It was just ignored because it was 1995 and nobody cared about hair and glam anymore. But this is a killer record, and the sound is great. The discs are flat as pancakes. So couldn't be happier with this. So totally worth the wait.
Me too, Chris. So was that on traditional color vinyl?
It's on red and black splatter here. I can show you.
Oh,
Or it's like red with black smoke kind of thing almost. It's kind of cool. This one's actually a misprint too. I'll get there in a minute, but I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, you can't really see it on camera, but there's some like black swirl in there too. So
Chris says I hope it's flatter than the pancakes I make.
So this excuse me. This one is a bit of a misprint because the second disc, even though it's pressed with side C and side D stampers like it should be, the labels on both sides are side 4 labels. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, I don't care about misprints. I don't like mispresses where, side C is pressed with the wrong stamper or something, but I don't mind misprints like that. I think they're kind of cool.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah, you're probably right about that, Chris. Yeah, you're probably right about that. So this was a somewhat interesting find last week. So for anybody that likes Dire Straits, or more specifically Mark Knopfler's solo career, his solo career didn't really begin until Dire Straits, called it quits in the early 90s. And Mark Knopfler's first solo record came out in 96, was called The Golden Heart. But during the 80s, when Dire Straits was still a going concern, Mark Knopfler scored the music for several films, one of which was The Princess Bride, which is obviously a pretty well-known film. And so in 93, he put out an album called Screenplaying, which was a collection of some of the music that he had scored during the 80s for certain films. And so the films where the music is here is Cal, Last Exit to Brooklyn, The Princess Bride, and Local Hero. And this was only pressed on vinyl in the 90s in the UK, Spain, and Germany. This is a German pressing. It's never been reissued on vinyl since. But I had never seen a vinyl copy of this ever. And so, I had heard it before. And it's good. I mean, it's all instrumental and stuff because, it's a film score, right? It's not so, it's not what you would expect from his solo career, but it's actually really good. So if you ever come across a copy of this in any format, if you like Dire Straits or you like Mark Knopfler, I'd suggest checking this out. It's pretty good.
What's your favorite Dire Straits record?
I'm going to have to say it's probably, man, you know, I mean, I love Brothers in Arms, of course, but I would actually say it's probably Love Over Gold from 1982. That record just vibes with me on a level that none of the other Dire Straits records do. I love Communique. I love Making Movies. Um, the oh, what was the other one? Why can't I think of the name of the record?
Coconut Road.
No, it was
What was the EP called?
oh no, On Every Street, the 1991, the last studio record they did. I love that album too. I think Calling Elvis, which is the song that opens up that record, that is probably, if I were to make a list of top 10 Dire Straits songs, that one's absolutely on it for me. And there are some great moments on that one too. Yeah,
Love Over Gold.
Amazing. Telegraph Road, the song that opens that record. You know, I love the whole sentiment of that, and you know, the lyrical sentiment of it, especially when he's talking about, you know, the settling of Detroit and the guy, you know, putting down his load by the lake where it felt the best, and then came the what was it? Then came the churches, then came the schools, then came the lawyers, and then came the rules.
Yeah.
What about
Absolutely.
you? What's your favorite Dire Straits record?
I'm trying to remember what the EP is. What is the EP from Dire Straits?
Hang on.
Yeah, I was trying to grab it.
Are you? Let me think here.
Maybe it was their first offering.
You talking about Twisting by the Pool?
No, I don't like that at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't like that at all. No, that was a big mistake, I think. Anyway, but I shouldn't say that. Yeah.
Hold on.
Maybe I have a.
There was one called Encores.
Oh, okay.
But that was live. All their EPs that I'm seeing were live, except Extended Dance Play.
That's it.
Okay. I don't think I've ever heard that.
So what's the Alchemy? Do you have Alchemy?
I do not. Is it good?
It's very good. I've only had like 4 copies ever. Oh,
okay, yeah, that's a live one, yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to listen to that on YouTube. Yeah. Medicine Show. There you go.
And, you know, for any Dire Straits fans that maybe didn't like On Every Street in 1991, if you haven't listened to it for a long time, I would go back and revisit it. I think that record's probably better than You Don't Remember. That's a really good album. So,
yeah. Just something cool about listening to Dire Straits on the radio when I was a child.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, one thing I've always appreciated about Mark Knopfler's solo career, too, is the fact that his solo career didn't really sound anything like Dire Straits, which I've always appreciated. Like, you could never accuse him of gravy training Dire Straits. Like, that man does Americana better than any Brit has a right to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love his albums, Sailing to Philadelphia, Shangri-La, that album he did with Emmylou Harris called All the Road Running. God, what a great album that is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's put out some amazing solo material over the years. So
absolutely.
I get excited anytime he puts out anything new. So yesterday was a big day. The Mars Volta announced that they were going back on tour for the first time in 10 years. They've got a new single out. Allegedly, they've already recorded a new album. So this was a big deal for me and my wife, because we are big fans of the Mars Volta, and we were actually buying their vinyl in, you know, the 2000s as it was coming out, which is cool. You know, a lot of that stuff, I can't believe how much people pay for that stuff now, but you know, we were buying it all as it came out, and it's so good. You know, they're like a modern day prog band with a lot of Latin flair and just unbelievable band. Great songwriters, great musicians. Their stage show is great. So today, so they announced the tour yesterday. Pre-sale for tickets went on today. Got tickets to the show in Washington, D.C. on October 3rd. Can't wait to go see that. That's going to be awesome. It's at a small little venue, standing room only, general admission. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
What venue is it?
Hold on. It's the Anthem.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So very much looking
I've never
forward
been, but I hear good things about the Anthem.
Yeah, it's
And
going
plus-
to be badass.
Yeah, are you going to share with us the concert you went to last week?
Yeah. So, last week went down to Charlotte and we saw Garbage open for Tears for Fears. And I'm telling you, Adam, Tears for Fears is like a fine wine, man. Those guys just get better with age. I could not believe how good they sounded. I mean, Roland and Kurt's voices were still top notch. They played something from every album, which I thought was great. They played the hits. They played a lot of stuff that probably a lot of people in the crowd didn't know. They played a whole bunch of stuff from the new record. They probably played 5 or 6 songs off the new record, which I was really happy to see.
Did Tears for Fears play anything from Raul?
Believe they did. Hold on, let me see what all's on that.
That's when they were not together, right?
Oh, yeah. So, one thing they did play, they played Break It Down Again, which is on Elemental, but that was another one of the albums that Roland did by himself. And I thought it was kind of gracious of Kurt to, allow that song to be played because, of course, he wasn't there for it. But, he was there. He was playing on it. And I don't know about Rajul, but it was hold on, let me see what's on that record because I'll be able to tell you very quickly if let's see. Yeah, Raul and the Kings of Spain. Let's see. Did they play anything off of that?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't see anything off that. Okay, so that was probably the one record they didn't play anything off of. But like I said, they at least played Break It Down Again off of Elemental. So at least they did cover that period of the band, even though Kurt wasn't there.
That is a good song.
They sounded great. I mean, the band was tight. You could tell they were well rehearsed. The female singer they had on stage with them, Lauren Evans. Did you take a look at that link I sent you about the resume of people that she's played with? Unbelievable. Yeah. And her voice was outstanding. She absolutely nailed Woman in Chains. So good.
Wow.
I was very happy that we went to that show, man. They absolutely killed it. A lot of times it was actually funny because Kurt was talking to the audience at one point and he said, he said, when we did the new record, he said, it's actually doing quite well, which is a nice surprise at this juncture in our career. And he said, especially because before we started recording the record, he said, we were surrounded by a bunch of business people that were basically telling us that we were a heritage act. And so instead of listening to them, we just fired every one of them and did what we wanted to do.
Good for them.
And good for them. Yeah. And that worked out in their favor. I mean, the new record's outstanding. And I can't say enough good things about that show. I would totally go see them again in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. Well, maybe you'll be able to soon. Maybe they'll come back around again.
I hope so.
I mean,
I certainly hope so. And I hope we don't have to wait 15 years for another album either.
Well, if they put out a record that good, they probably got more stuff in them. They probably got more stuff already recorded too.
I certainly hope so. But yeah, so I was going to show a couple of, or show some of the Mars Volta albums that I have, and just kind of go through those, just in case anybody watching knows that band. They're one of my favorite bands of the last 20 years. This was their very first release. It's called the Tremulant EP. This is an original from 2003. It's on yellow vinyl, I think. Yeah. got that one. And then this one was a little bit different, a little more stripped down than a little less produced and a little less grandiose than most of their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is their first actual full-length album. It's called Deloused in the Comatorium. This came out in 2003 as well. And I love these original pressings because you can't tell what side is which at all. Like there's no labels on it. Both discs just look like this. So the only way to know what side is what is to look at the etchings and the dead wax. And normally I hate that, but I don't know. There's just something very, I don't know. It's pretentious, which is one of the reasons why I like the Mars Volta. Like, if you can't stand pretentiousness in music, you're not going to like the Mars Volta. It's as simple as that.
You can borrow this.
Yeah, no, I'm good. So yeah, that was 2003. Then in 2005, they put out what I think is their best record overall. It's called Francis the Mute. I bought this in 2005 when it came out. I bought this off their website. And what was interesting about this is that the record company, so this was the first one that they did on a major label, and the record company refused to allow it to be 2 CDs. So what they had to do was take the title track, Francis the Mute, off of the album. It was supposed to be the first song on the record. And what they had to do was take Francis the Mute off so that the album would fit on 1 CD. And so what they did was in the months leading up, about, I don't know, maybe the first month and a half, 2 months, leading up to the album's release, they released Francis the Mute, the song, as a single. And I got it on vinyl. I got it on a 12-inch single. And it's on this like cool sea green vinyl. And so anytime I play this album, I always play this single first to hear the actual title track. And then just the Mute, this is 3 LPs. It's a trifold kind of thing. So you got that, and then this opens up and all that kind of thing. So it's just black vinyl. It's got an etching on the very last side. So I guess that'd be what, side F. It's got an etching, so it's a great record. I think it's their best, pound for pound.
Very cool.
This one is a live album that came out in 2005 called Scab Dates. I love this record too. This is a really great document of what their live show was like at the time. So I would consider that essential. This one is called Amputecture. And this one's kind of got a weird cover art to it. Yeah. So,
I haven't even seen that on CD.
And then this one's called The Bedlam in Goliath. And the vinyl copies of this were really awesome because in addition to this 2 LP set, it also came with this really funky 7-inch single that's shaped, and it's called Mr. Muggs. And honestly, I can't tell whether you're supposed to play this at 33 or 45 because it sounds fine at either speed. It's totally instrumental, so like you can't use the vocals as a guide. So I have no idea. I usually play it at 45. It sounds great. So I don't know, but it sounds fine at 33 too.
Very cool.
Yep. And then the last two, this one's called Octahedron. This came out 2009, I think it was. And this one, I don't think this one had anything special in it. No, it didn't. It was just some colored vinyl. And then the last one, which was kind of cool, this was their last album to date. This is called Nocturnicate, and it came out in 2012. That was the last album, last time they toured, so it's been 10 years. And Nocturnicate comes with these funky inner sleeves that look really weird, and it's because the album also comes with 3D glasses and a 3D poster that you're supposed to look at. So there's the 3D glasses, and it comes with this 3D poster. So,
Wow.
yeah.
What's the album where the head is in a plate and the head is?
Hold on a second.
Did you show that one?
Yeah, wasn't that? Is this the one you're talking about? Deloused in the comatorium. Oh yeah, this one right here. Yeah, on the back.
There you go. Yeah, the back side. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. There you go. All right.
Yeah. So, I cannot wait to go see them live in October. That is going to be awesome.
Very cool. Yeah. Hey, if you're just joining us, we're doing Cocktails and Vinyl tonight. Cheers. Hanging out with Shawn. He's showing us some cool records. Grab your cocktail. Kick in. Let's talk.
Last group of stuff I was gonna show was some Blue Note 10 inches that I've managed to get in recently. There's a collector, a very hardcore collector in Pennsylvania that has been looking to thin out some of his collection, and this guy's standards for what he buys are insane. This guy has near mint copies of every single album in the Blue Note 1500 series. That should give you a little bit of pause as to what this guy is after, right? So he contacted me out of the blue on Instagram and was asking if I was interested in some of the things that he had for sale. And he's sold me several things. I can't afford most of the stuff that he's. Yeah, Chris. The title track was supposed to be the first track on the album, and they released it as a CD single, and they also released it as a 12-inch vinyl single. So yeah, it was just one of those things. You can blame the record company for that, but as per usual, record companies are good at messing that stuff up. So, but anyway, so this guy, he has sold me a few choice pieces out of his collection, and so I was just gonna show a few of these that have come in recently. So this is probably the nicest copy of this left in existence. This is Blue Note 5030. It's Lou Donaldson and Clifford Brown. This thing looks like the day it was new. The corners are still sharp. There's not a mark on the vinyl. This apparently came from the collection of someone that played this once to record it to a reel and never played it again. And I can totally believe that based on the sound quality. I didn't know that records this old still existed in this condition. Unbelievable. I would put heavy money on this being the nicest copy left in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. And then this one I thought was a little interesting. So here is the Amazing Bud Powell Volume 2. This is Blue Note 5042. And this one's funny because it was a printing mess up. They printed the front cover upside down, which means that the cover opens on the left rather than the right. And I have seen that before on old Blue Note albums, so it's not unheard of or anything. These are some other ones that he sold me. 3 Horace Silver 10 inches that are just absolutely beautiful. This is 5018. 5058. This is Horace Silver Quintet. And I mean, these are just gorgeous. I mean, these are all archive quality. And then this last one here, 5062. So, and then
was it scary thinking they were going to? Was it scary thinking they were going to be shipped in the mail?
Oh, part of the deal for me shipping these or me buying these was that he had to cover overnight shipping with insurance on it. And, I paid him for it, but I was not going to risk those sitting in the Postal Service vortex for any longer than they had to. For records that nice and that pristine, I was happy to pay him a little bit extra and do overnight, because no, I'm not leaving that up to the Postal Service. No way.
Good.
And then these were some ones that I managed to find locally not too long ago. 5055 Lou Donaldson Volume 2. This is cool. This record is a banger, man. This thing will raise the roof off the place. So good. The Eminent J.J. Johnson Volume 3. This is 5070. This is toward the end of the 5000 series, before Blue Note started releasing 12-inch LPs. This one's good. This one, all the recordings from this have all eventually ended up on 12-inch. And then this one was a nice find too, 5004. This is one of the first ones in the 5000 series. This is Fats Navarro. This guy died way too young, and man, that guy could play. I love listening to him. So
very cool.
Yeah. So what about you, Adam? You got any records to show, or you done been?
I do not have any records to show, but I was going to say that you have quite a few 10 inches in your library now.
I do, yeah. I like those Blue Note 10 inches because even though a lot of them saw reissues in the 1500 series on 12-inch, it's cool to have that original historical document. You know, it's cool to have the original album, the 10-inch, right? The one that people got to hear first. You know, like so many of the early Blue Note 1500 series records are just the 10-inch ones reissued. You know, and they would take, you know, because normally a whole 10-inch LP could fit on one side of a 12-inch LP. They could usually make it fit. And so they would, like, for instance, the first two in the 1500 series, 1501 and 1502 was Miles Davis, Volume 1 and 2. That is a collection of all of the 10-inch LPs that he released on Blue Note in the early 50s. So that's what you find, especially early in the 1500 series. So it's cool to have that stuff on 12-inch, but it's really cool to have those original documents too, and have the 10-inch albums.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, I think do you have the entire discography from debut on 10-inch?
Now I do, yes. I have all 17 of them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to show that off sometime on Cocktails and Vinyl. But I managed to get all 17 of those. Thanks to you for most of them.
I didn't bring anything to show. I didn't. No. I barely walked in the building just before we connected, which is fine.
So, so was Record Store Day good to you? Did you do a good business that day?
Record Store Day was good. Each Record Store Day is different.
Sure, I can imagine.
This one didn't have the Taylor Swift element,
right?
So I didn't have people walk in and say, "Where do I register by?"
Yeah.
And so,
Taylor
brought a lot of. I was going to say Taylor brought a lot of people to record stores.
Oh, I bet she did. Yeah.
There you go.
Going back to that collector in Pennsylvania for a minute, the guy, he's not really like publicizing that he's selling pieces of his collection. Apparently he's just reaching out to certain people. And he told me that the only reason he reached out to me was because he knows that I'm not going to flip them, and that, they're actually going to a good home where they'll be enjoyed, because, that matters to him. And, I certainly appreciate that. So, hopefully I'll be able to buy some more stuff from him in the future. But, his stuff is really nice. And so it comes with a hefty price tag to go along with it. So I got to be real careful about what I buy. But
did he send you a list of everything he wanted to sell?
No, he didn't send me a list of everything. He's just kind of, so I think what he's doing is kind of going through his collection, and he's like messaging me like maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, and just being like, hey, I've got a couple of more things that you might be interested in. Here's what I'm selling. If you want any of this and you can't afford it now, you want me to put it aside for you, I will, that kind of thing. So, I've got a small little pile of about 3 things he's set aside for me that I'll get him paid for when I can. But
Yeah.
but yeah, he's like, I think he's just going through his collection and trying to thin some things out, because he said, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm realizing that it's in 20 years, like, I couldn't listen to all this stuff. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Did he say, is anything on your wish list?
So he did ask me that once, and remarkably, he came through for me. It was a Riverside album. Hold on, I'll grab it real quick.
Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us tonight. I really appreciate it. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much.
This is another. He was like, is there anything on your wish list? And
Hello, Kurt.
Oh yeah, Kurt, and I mean, I'm sure they want them all clean as hell too. So yeah, some people, their standards for what they'll have in their collection is very, very high, and that's this guy. So yeah, so he asked me if I had anything on my wish list, and I gave him, a couple of things. And remarkably, he said, "All right, well," he goes, "I have all of those," but he said the only one I'm willing to sell is this one, and this thing is near mint. Looks like the day it was new. Hang on. This is Gigi Grice and the Jazz Lab Quintet. I mean, look how shiny that cover is. And, the back, the corners are all nice and sharp. I mean, this thing is just gorgeous. And the vinyl doesn't have a mark on it. It sounds like the day it was new. So, yeah. No. But.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I managed to score that one off my wish list. He had a couple of others, but he wasn't willing to let them go. So I wasn't going to argue with the guy about it because they're his records. So I'll take whatever bones he wants to throw me.
There you go. Well, that's awesome. Maybe you'll be able to get some more soon. And
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to take whatever of that guy's records I can afford, because you name it, he's got it. And like I said, like that Lou Donaldson and Clifford Brown. I mean, he's got a few records from, probably more than a few from that collection where the guy just played them once, recorded them to a reel, and never played them again. And I mean, he said he didn't even get a major chunk of that collection, but he said the guy's wife knew what she had, and there were no deals to be had. So, so he had to pay dearly for everything he got out of that collection, but.
Well, that's cool. Just sometimes being able to find it.
Yeah. Well, and it still gives me hope that this stuff is still out there, and that it hasn't all been found and been shipped off to Europe and Japan.
Right. And hopes that we can grab it before somebody says, Dad's dad, let's put it in a cardboard box and stack it in the garage 4 high. Yeah. So you can find it when it's still on the shelves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One last one I was gonna show. Hold on. I know we're coming up on time here. So I got very, very lucky recently. For the longest time, I've had a very, very, very rare jazz record called Presenting Jackie McLean from 1955. And allegedly, there were only about 300 pressed. There's no telling how many of those still exist, or how many have survived the last 67 years. But the copy that I've had for about 3 years has been, it was G+. It played VG mostly, but it was G+ visually. And amazingly, the same shop that I bought it from came across another one recently, and the cover is far nicer. So I was able to work out a cash and trade deal with them to get this better copy. And the, I mean, other than the stain, the jacket's in pretty good shape. It's really nice. The vinyl visually is about like my old copy was, but it plays a lot quieter.
Mhm.
So overall, this was a very, very solid upgrade for me. So very
That's very
happy
cool.
done. Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Very, very, very cool. Yes. So cool. So many cool records, folks. I hope I get to hear them all.
So you've been doing very many buybacks this week or last week or any?
None this week. Last week, I think there was a few. I was
Always
in
got
Wake
to stack
Forest
a record
today.
price, don't you?
I was in Wake Forest today, and I was pricing records, and customer came in. He says, "Oh, you working on a buyback?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm always working on a buyback." And I said, "See these crates to my right? I have the 14-inch crate, so you can stack them on top of each other." And I said, "Those all need pricing." So it's just it's always something to be priced.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. And then not only priced but washed and sleeved and jacketed and
Oh yeah. The joys of owning a record store, right?
yeah, like today, it's pretty exciting to get a Led Zeppelin record so that you can sell it because people love the Led Zeppelin. And
Which one?
I got the third one with the wheel.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And
I love that album package. I love the way that they did that, the spinning wheel. That's cool.
yeah, well, this jacket looks great, and the vinyl looks probably F.
Oh,
and
so it was well loved.
it was noisy and crackly and popply, and I'm gonna wash it just to see if it sounds a little better. But sometimes it's hard just to sell the jacket only, so I can put a sticker on it that says, "You need an upgrade."
Yeah, you need a cover upgrade. Here's your copy.
Yeah. So yeah. But it's exciting, and then I still have all these Pink Floyd records that I need to price, and with Pink Floyd, you want to listen to them so quietly. You have to listen to everything. And so,
yeah. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Must not have been important.
yeah. Well, cool. Well, great, Shawn. Thanks for sharing these cool records with us.
Of course, anytime.
Something about Mars and how that title track wasn't on the record, but you could get it on a CD single or an LP single or vinyl single.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's all I've got. So,
everybody have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you really soon.
Everybody. Okay. Thanks for having me,
Cheers.
Adam.
You betcha. Good night.